Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda was one of the biggest rappers on the internet back in 2014, the time when he released his universal hit, Hot N-word. I know I can say the N-word, but I don't want this video to get deleted. Anyways, he was so young to have such a massive hit on his name. At that time, the majority of us knew that this guy was going to be one of those artists who will dominate hip-hop. But this success did not last long, and here's how. Bobby Shmurda, whose real name is Akila Pollard, is a rapper who became famous in 2014 for his song Hot N-word, and its viral dance especially. However, his rise to fame was cut short when he was arrested in December 2014, along with several other members of his group called GS9. They were charged with a variety of serious crimes, including conspiracy to commit murder, weapons possession, and drug trafficking. The police had been investigating GS9 for a long time, and they had finally gathered enough evidence against Bobby Shmurda. Faced multiple charges. The most serious was conspiracy to commit murder, but he also faced charges related to drugs and illegal guns. The authorities said that GS9 was involved in a lot of violent activities, and they had evidence that linked Bobby to these crimes. Bobby always maintained that he was innocent and that he was just a rapper who was being unfairly treated because of his music and his association with certain people. However, the evidence against him was just too strong. In 2016, Bobby Shmurda accepted a plea deal. He pleaded guilty to third-degree conspiracy and 1 count of weapons possession. This plea deal meant that he admitted to some of the charges against him in exchange for a shorter prison sentence. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, but with time served and good behaviour, he had a chance to get out earlier. Life in prison was tough for Bobby Shmurda. He faced a lot of challenges and difficulties. Being a well-known rapper, it meant that he had a target on his back, and he had to be careful all the time. There were reports of him getting into fights and having to defend himself, which led him to being placed in solitary confinement many times, which is a very harsh form of punishment when a prisoner is isolated from other inmates for a long time. This can be very hard on a person's mental health, especially when you're still young like him. Despite these challenges, Bobby tried to make the best of his time in prison. He stayed in touch with his family and friends, and he continued to write music. He kept a positive attitude and looked forward to the day he would be released. He received a lot of support from his fans and other artists in the music industry, which helped him stay strong. In February 2021, Bobby Shmurda was finally released from prison after serving about 6 years. He came out to a lot of excitement and support from the hip-hop community. People were eager to see what he would do next and how he would rebuild his career. Since his release, he has been working on new music and trying to stay out of trouble. He has also spoken about his experiences in prison and how this changed him. Bobby Shmurda's story is a reminder of how quickly things can change and how important it is to stay out of trouble. His case also highlights some of the issues with the criminal justice system and how young people from certain backgrounds can be caught up in a cycle of violence and crime. Despite his mistakes, Bobby Shmurda remains a popular figure in the hip-hop world, and his fans continue to support him as he moves forward with his life. Bobby Shmurda being free and all is honestly good, but bear in mind, people only know him because he's a rapper, and when that's your only reputation is what you must maintain, and Bobby did not do that. When it came to making music, Bobby Shmurda took his time. He didn't rush back into the studio right away. Instead, he focused on getting his life back on track and adjusting to the changes that had happened while he was away. He said that he wanted to take things slowly and make sure that he was in the right mindset before diving back into his music career. Bobby Shmurda understood that a lot has changed in the music industry during his time in prison, and he wanted to make sure that he was ready to come back strong, and we should respect him for that. But now it's been 4 years since he's released, and at that time he was partying a lot, celebrating a lot, like it was literally his last day on earth, and he did deserve that. But he did eventually finally release music. Between now and 2021, he dropped 15 songs and 2 new albums. Tell me guys, name me one of those songs between those years, like just name me one of those 15 songs or any song off of the 2 albums. So altogether about 40 songs. Name me one song. Can you name me any? Exactly. Bobby Shmurda was huge back then, and so was his dance. Literally everyone was doing it. But now that Hot N-word is the only song everyone knows, the talent and potential he had has not been reached at all. Within those 6 years, everyone forgot about him, and even when he was released, not as many people were excited to see new music from him. I feel like if Bobby really wanted to revive his career, all the money he's been spending on partying should have been spent on top tier production and actually good songwriting. Like low-key, he should just get a ghostwriter, because I've listened to a few of his new songs earlier, and it's not that good. If Bobby really cares about his career, he needs to do what it takes for him to revive it. But remember, prison does do a lot to people. When you have no freedom for 6 years and you finally get it, it can take time to adjust, especially if you're a rapper, because I doubt Bobby Shmurda made music in prison, and if he did, it's not even released. But if he didn't, then 6 years later he's released. Tell me, how do you think that he has the same drive and motivation to make music as he did in 2014? That love for music died in prison with him. A new version of Bobby Shmurda came out when he was released. Not the the I Quit music version, just a different Bobby Shmurda. Either way, Bobby Shmurda is just another one-hit wonder, and there are a lot of rappers like him nowadays. Some careers just don't need reviving, especially when the artist doesn't put in a big enough effort. So thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below if you think Bobby Shmurda would have been one of the big artists ever if he was in prison. And that's going to be all from me. Have a good day.